which means that the universe is closed. It's a closed system. Who closed that system, right? It's a closed system, and it means that there was it's expanding as well. The evidence is the universe is expanding, which is redshifting that we can observe. We can see the wavelength of the galaxy stretching, which means that there was a point where it started stretching from, right? That's why almost every major physicist today believes that the universe has a beginning. Now, whether it has or it doesn't have, that's the point I'm making. Whether you want to believe it has or it doesn't have, you still have to deal with the fact that there is an external explanation. You cannot have an infinite range of external explanations. Therefore, you have to concur that there is always existed explanation that explains everything else. Do you agree with that? If not, tell me why not.
That's a lot of words, man. But at least you understand.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. No, there are clearly like laws of nature at play and certain innate patterns and everything. But I think that could come from somewhere else other than a creator, basically.
I don't mind, but I said the point I was making, if it comes from something else, if that something else also has restrictions and it's arranged in a certain way, then it will require another explanation. If it doesn't, then that's whom we refer to as a creator. Something that does not have restrictions, something that has always existed. So either way, you have to concur. There is something out there that doesn't have restrictions upon it and it's always existing. Which some people refer to as the necessary being, etc. Yeah, I don't like to use that term, but that's the necessary conclusion. It's a necessary being is a necessary conclusion. That's what I was saying to you. It's a necessary conclusion. It's not a maybe yes or no theory, because there is nothing to refute that point. Our existence today is absolute proof that there is something that is always existent, eternal, and that placed restriction on the universe that we're in.
Whoa. Whoa.
So why do you think that a creator would have to be eternal, whereas the universe had to come from somewhere? Because couldn't you ask the same question about the creator itself?
Yeah, now that's a very common question of who created God. These questions are very old questions, you know. Who created God? We explained that if God has a creator, i.e. explanation, then that explanation of God will also require an explanation ad infinitum. Therefore, nothing will exist. But if something exists today, is proof that there is a starting point. Something that has no beginning.
أصلا يعني by definition بالتعريف أن الإله غير مخلوق وليس لديه خالق. هذه بالتعريف، يعني التعريف ديال الإله هو أنه واحد البيين، واحد ما غنسميه الشخص، يعني واحد الكائن اللي هو اللي خالق كل شيء ولكن ليس لديه خالق. هذا هو التعريف ديال الإله. يعني اصلا السؤال من خلق الخالق هو في واحد السؤال اللي هو متناقض مع راسه، واحد السؤال اللي غلط. ما يمكنش نقول من خلق خالق كل شيء او من خلق ما، واحد السؤال اللي متناقض مع بعضياته وسؤال اللي غلط.
Beginning, something that has no end, no restrictions, and that's the creator.
So you'll have the problem of infinite regression.
Yeah.
So therefore,
to get out of that, God has to
not to get out of that, because we exist, is proof already that there is something. Because either way, nothing can exist. Because I will need you to create, me to create. He will need you. He will need, etc. So I will never create, because no one will ever create him, and no one will ever create you ad infinitum. You get the point?
Yeah.
So our existence, if anything exists and has limitations, is proof of God's existence. Look, it's a simple argument, yeah? It's not a hard argument. Anything that exists is proof of God's existence. The point is this: are you sincere enough to accept?
حيتاش ما يمكنش شي حاجه تجي الوجود بدون سبب. الى واحد الحاجه جات في الوجود الا وعندها واحد السبب، ولا بقينا راجعين بالاسباب الى ما لا نهايه، فديك الحاجه اصلا ما عمرها ما غادي تجي للوجود. بحال دابا مثلا كما كنقول ديما، الا بغيت انا نعطيك مثلا واحد الهديه وما بيني وما بين كاين واحد العدد لا نهائي ديال الاشخاص، واش ديك الهديه غادا توصلك؟ الملحدين كيقول لك ما عرفتش. هنا كينتحر عقليا، يعني العقل ديالو تيشيري فيه. اما الجواب السهل واللي هو بديهي هو انه ديك الهديه ما عمرها ما غتوصلك. علاش؟ حيتاش ديما قبل ما توصلك ديما غيخصها واحد الشخص واحد اخر، واحد الشخص واحد اخر، واحد الشخص واحد اخر، وديك الهديه ما عمرها ما غتوصلك حيتاش كاين واحد العدد لا نهائي. ملي كنقول لي انا لا نهائي كيقول لي هي ما ربما يولي نهائي، ما ربما توصلني، لا ما عمرها ما توصلك حيتاش كاين واحد العدد لا نهائي. ديما خصنا واحد الشخص واحد اخر. هذا هو المعنى ديال لا نهائي.
Accept that reasoning, which is absolute reasoning, it doesn't have any holes in it? Or do you have a personal problem why you don't believe in God? Because I've come across a lot of people, been doing this for a long time, yeah? And people, not everyone really has a rational problem with the existence of God. A lot of people have emotional issues with the existence of God, have previous bad experiences with religious issues. Therefore, they want to use these as excuses to push away the point that whether God exists or not. Now, I don't know your position. I'm not making judgment on you, but I'm saying this is my experience with it. So I'm asking both of you right now. Does that seem fair? Does the argument seem fair? Does it make sense?
I don't think it quite does, to be honest. I think both of us would be very happy if there was a God. You know, it's great. We've got eternal life and there's an order to things.
Eternal can be good or bad.
Yeah, no. Sure.
Oh, is it silly?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I definitely don't have a personal problem with God existing. I think Kieran probably find the same way. Like, we'd be happy.
Do you agree that the reasoning is valid?
Not really, to be honest.
Tell me why not.
Well,
I'll be honest with you. A lot of people, both of you, yeah. I'll be honest. I come across a lot of people, yeah. I give a reasoning that is valid. Then they say I disagree.
السبب اللي كيخلي الملحدين يجاوبوا بواحد الأجوبة هما أنهم كيفتحوا المجال لواحد العدد لا نهائي ديال الاحتمالات، وتيفتحوا المجال ديال أنه أي شيء ممكن يكون. داكشي علاش العقل ديالهم كتلقاهم متيرين فيه، يعني منتحرين العقلية.
Disagree. I say, why do you disagree? They don't have an answer. So are you disagreeing based on what I said? If you are, tell me so you can discuss that point.
Okay.
Why is invalid in the reasoning that I used?
I don't know enough about astrophysics to be able to tell you exactly what.
That's not astrophysics though.
No, but
cosmology, you mean?
I know there's arguments about like matter and dark matter and how they existed and how the universe came into being.
But I said even if we believe it's eternal, sorry to cut you, even if we believe it's eternal, you don't have to deal with the argument whether it has. I said even if it's eternal, it's arranged in a certain way, it has restrictions, therefore it requires an external explanation. Believe it's eternal, it's up to you, man.
Yeah.
You want to believe it's eternal, you don't want to believe it's eternal. But in the end, you're still faced with that conclusion. You have not escaped the argument. You get the point I'm trying to make?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it is a possibility, but...
Again, we're using eternal possibility.
Yeah, but again, it's still a theory which I haven't seen enough evidence for to accept that. I think it's likely.
Okay, now...
As one of many theories.
Okay, now there's two issues here. First issue is the following, yeah? When you say it's a theory, do you believe that anything is certain? Both of you, it's a question for both of you, because I'm talking to two people, you know?
That's deep philosophical shit.
Okay, there's two options. There is something which is certain.
Yeah.
There is nothing certain.
Okay, there's some things that are certain.
Like your existence?
Yeah, like we're gonna die at least from this physical body.
And we exist. You exist as well. I'm talking to something right now.
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, that certain thing is proof that God exists, and that's the point I was making. If you're certain in your existence, then by default you.
أرى المشكل كاين شي ناس اللي وصل بهم درجة الشك لأنه كيشك في راسو أصلا واش هو موجود أو لا غير موجود، واش هو أصلا فعلا كاين أو لا، راه غير شي بروغرام. مثلا حنا عايشين واحد الحياة اللي فهمتيني في واحد البيسي، شي واحد اللي مبروغرامينا بحال هكاك، واللي كيخلي فهمتيني كيما حنا كنبروغراميو اللعاب، شي واحد كيلعب بينا دابا. يعني راه كاين شي ناس لا اله الا الله.
Must be certain in God's existence because you exist, right? You're limited, you're arranged in a certain way, therefore you require an explanation outside yourself. Simple.
No, but we can be arranged in a certain way based on the innate patterns of the universe. We don't need an external creator to create.
The universe itself is arranged in a certain way.
Yeah, but
that's the point I'm making. So if you claim in the universe arranged something, I'm saying the universe itself. The universe is not an entity which exists. Yeah? The universe is whatever in the universe. And whatever in the universe is arranged in a certain way. That's what makes up the universe, yeah? Like you're composed of parts and you're arranged in a certain manner, right? Similarly, the universe is this. The universe is just something composed of different things arranged in a certain manner. Therefore, by default, the universe requires an external explanation. If you believe, I'm putting it this way, if you believe anything is certain, you have to believe in God. If you don't believe anything is certain, you'll contradict yourself. Because you're saying nothing is certain, that statement is certain. And that's self-refuting. So either way, you have to accept the existence of God.
I think there's just quite a big jump from saying...
Tell me why not? Why? Why is it a big jump?
There's a big jump in your reasoning from saying that the universe is arranged in a certain way, therefore there must be a creator.
I didn't say that. I said therefore there must be an explanation. And I said an explanation cannot keep requiring other explanations. You will have to have something which is not limited, because any limitation will infer an explanation. You will need who limited that thing. Why is it limited? You need to explain to me why, right? So the point is, by default, you have to accept something which has no limitations, always existing.
So what he's telling you is everything within the universe is contingent on something, and you can't have.
Even I don't use the word contingent, because it's similar to what you're saying. I call it argument from explanation, right? That things require an explanation external to themselves, right? I don't even call it necessarily dependent or contingent or because that's the argument of contingency, right? I use.
اصلا بالنسبه لي انا جوج ديال الحوايج كافيين بلا ما ندخل في كثره التعقيدات وبلا ما ندخل في كثره ديال الحماق ونحمق راسي. عندنا جوج حوايج. الحاجه الاولى، واش هي ممكن شي حاجه تجينا من لا شيء؟ ملي كنقول لا شيء يعني الغياب ديال الطاقه، الغياب ديال الذره، ديال الالكترونات، ديال الموجات، الغياب ديال اي حاجه. هذا هو اللا شيء. لا شيء هو الغياب ديال اي شيء. واش ممكن لا شيء يعطينا شيء؟ اصلا واش لا شيء موجود او الغير موجود؟ لا شيء فيه شي حاجه اللي غير موجوده، يعني حتى هذاك اللي كنقولوا حنا الخوا بالدارجه ديالنا، فهي في الحقيقه ماشي خاويه، فراه كتلقى تما الكترونات، كتلقى شي حوايج اللي ما يمكنش حنا نشوفهم، اللي ما يمكنش حنا اصلا نديتكتيهم، يعني ماشي خاوي. فانا كنقصد الخوا تماما، يعني لا شيء المطلق اللي هو في الواقع ديالنا ولا في الكون غير موجود. واش كيفاش تقدر تخيل ان واحد الحاجه اللي هي اصلا غير موجوده ممكن تخلق لك شي حاجه؟ رقم واحد. رقم جوج هو كما كيقول التسلسل اللانهائي، نبقاو راجعين اللور بشكل لا نهائي. يعني منين جات هاد الحاجه؟ منين جات القهوه جات من النبته، منين جات النبته جات من الارض، منين جات الارض جات من الى ما لا نهايه. ما يمكنش، ضروري خصنا نوصلوا لواحد النقطه اللي هي انديبوندونت، يعني غير معتمده على حتى شي حاجه، مستقله بذاتها، واللي هي اللي غادي تكون عطاتنا اي شيء كاينه في الوجود، هي اللي خلقات. يعني اي شيء كاين في الوجود جاي من هاد الحاجه هذه، او هاد الكائن هذا، او كما بغيتو سميوه، هي اللي عطاتنا الخلق ديال كل شيء، واللي حنا عندنا في الاسلام كنسميوه الله. يعني هاد جوج حوايج بالنسبه لي انا كافيين باش ناقش اي واحد كيقول لي ما كاينش اله، يعني هاد الكون هذا ما عندوش خالق. يعني اصلا باش تقول هاد الكلمه هذه لان هاد الكون ما عندوش خالق، فهي كما قلت لكم انتحار عقلي.
Use more explanation, right? By the way, there is a whole range of different arguments, you know. So many. That's why I was saying.
And these are all, by the way, Islamic arguments.
That's why I was saying to him. That's why I was saying to him that there is a range of arguments that lead us to that conclusion. It's not like that I'm just using one argument, right? There's multiple range of different arguments. Whichever way you would want to go, you're forced to accept the fact and the reality. That's why the biggest philosophers, they believed in something out there. They had to accept that fact, because when they reasoned within their minds, they realized that you, by necessity, would have to accept that there is something just by existing in this world. Just by being here is proof that there was something in the beginning that is not restricted. So I believe it's very illogical. I believe no rational person who really looks deeply into that topic and really thinks about these issues will come to the conclusion that God doesn't exist, except if he has another issue other than logic. With all due respect to obviously all the atheists out there, right?
Mohammed, in respect, we haven't asked him that view of whether you said you met many people that don't accept.
Yeah. What about you? Yeah, you said, but he said when he spoke, he said he also doesn't have an issue. Do you agree with what he said, that you don't have
Which question was that?
the issue with the issue with the creator? I said we meet a lot of people who have an issue which is not really logical, right? He said no, his issue is not. He's not. He doesn't have any baggage that is stopping him from believing. What about you?
No, I'd be very happy if it was true, if there was a God and a creator.
Okay. I'm telling you there is. Yeah, you should be happy now.
I prefer for your explanation to be true than
You haven't given me an explanation though.
well, I don't have an explanation.
So because you said other than mine, so that assumes that there is an alternative explanation.
I still have
المهم اخوتي غادي نحبسو هنا هاد السيمانه هادي باش ما يطولش الفيديو كتر. تلاقاو السيمانه الجايه ان شاء الله. ما تنساوش ديروا لايك اي تابوناو لك تي مازال ما تابونيتيش. سبسكرايب بليز. تهلاو.